Well, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the AMA, all about the Genesis Mint BowerBirds coming up in just 3 days' time. Super excited to share exactly what they're going to be looking like. We've got a sneak preview coming up, which is super awesome, and I'm really excited to show you those things. Now, of course, there's other items on the agenda if you've seen the announcement, and so we'll be going across those first, so you'll have to stick around at the end to actually see what we've got in store for our Genesis Mint, which is coming up in just 3 days' time. So let's take a look at that agenda and work our way through things. If you've got any questions, right, this is an AMA, ask me anything. Just make sure you pop those questions into the lounge text channel, and we've got people in there monitoring those, so they'll feed those questions through to me and we'll deal with everything today. So everybody is absolutely super crystal clear about the Genesis Mint, the OGs, how many do I get, what's it going to cost me. So it's all going to be there. And of course, we are recording this. If you've come in late or you've missed this entirely through your time zone around the world, well, we'll be posting the video to this later on. So everyone will get access to find out exactly what's going on coming up in these exciting next few days. Okay, so let's take a look at our agenda. So I'm going to move across to my screen. What we're going to be looking at is three very important things. As I mentioned, we've got our Genesis Mint coming up in 3 days' time on the 8th of December. It'll be starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So today we'll be talking about everything that happens with how that works. From the general public, what they're going to pay, the value proposition for them, is it worth it? We'll also be looking at what the lucky ones out there who actually have the Mint Pass now, exactly what it's going to cost you and what's involved and how much you get and the real value proposition. So we're going to make it very crystal clear. And of course, we'll be looking at our sneak previews of the Genesis, which I've been working on overnight. I've now run through a couple of times now. We've got 10,101 BowerBirds. 1,000 of those are the Genesis BowerBirds, so we'll be getting a sneak peek at what they look like. And actually some pretty cool, interesting previews that go a little deeper on how you're going to be able to use your very valuable Genesis BowerBird, and even the OGs for that matter. So we'll be taking a look at that. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, got any questions, just pop them in the text channel if you like, and feel comfortable speaking, please, unmute yourself and ask a question. I'm here, I'm not scary. But if you just want to do a text question, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so let's move on to our next screen here. We're looking at the value proposition, firstly, as a Mint Pass holder. What's it going to cost me as a Mint Pass holder? I've already bought my Mint Pass and I've spent 0.08 ETH. What now do I have to pay? I thought I was going to have to pay for my Genesis BowerBird, but with the latest developments, if you haven't been back in the Discord for a while, you'll see that we've actually decided through all the waiting around and all the confusion and issues, we thought, well, look, let's just get on with it here. Let's really reward our early adopters, those that have been supporting us from the beginning. So we have previously made the announcement that the Genesis is not going to cost you anything apart from a gas fee. So what exactly are you getting when you mint on this Thursday moving forward? Now, firstly, it's not going to be a 24-hour rush. You have to get in there and purchase and mint on the one day. Numbers in our Discord really are not high enough yet, and that is our obviously big elephant in the room problem, and we're working on solving that, and sooner or later we will get there. So rest assured, should some of our influencers bring in a lot more people in the Discord over the next few days, we're hoping that will be the case. It may be a matter of urgency, but right now the sale for the Genesis to mint will start at the said time, coming this Wednesday the 8th of December at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So what exactly are you getting? So let's look at what's on offer here, because you've purchased a Mint Pass, right? So you're a Mint Pass holder. It's not going to cost you anything, right, in ETH, but you will have to pay some gas. So you can pick and choose your time, to make sure that no one's in a gas war with you, and you're not going to pay a lot of money with the gas fee. It's very doable at the moment. So what are we exactly getting, right? Firstly, you're going to be minting your Genesis BowerBird, and at the same time, you'll be minting your OG BowerBird. So you'll be getting 2 BowerBirds, which will be revealed about 24 hours after the sale starts in OpenSea. Down the track, you'll be receiving the female BowerBird, right? And should you be holding either of these two, an OG Genesis and a female, that will lead to the 4th of the NFTs that you'll be entitled to for that one fee that you've already paid there, the 0.08 ETH. So essentially you're getting 4 NFTs for the price of 1. And if we look at today's value of, or cost, translated into US dollars for ETH, it's around about $4,000, give or take $100 or $2. So cost per NFT, if we would divide this up over these 4, is going to be 0.02 ETH, or $80 per NFT. Now, when you consider just the value of this artwork all by itself, that's a pretty fair proposition. So if you're in the valued position of holding a Mint Pass, congratulations, you've got in at the cheapest time that these are ever going to be able to be minted at. Okay, so now you might be thinking to yourself, well, okay, but what's going to happen with the general public? Are they going to be thinking that this is such a good deal? Like, I've got my Mint Pass, and sure, there are still some Mint Passes available, and we're going to get to explaining how that works and the whole how many Mint Passes are available versus how many can the general public buy. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the first thing to note is that we should probably be looking at the value proposition of the public sale. Now, it goes like this. It's going to cost them 0.15 ETH, correct? Okay. For that cost, right, they are going to get through the public minting sale a Genesis BowerBird. They'll not be receiving an OG. That will come when we move in the future, when we've got a large enough Discord, there's a large enough awareness and demand for our BowerBirds, our full 10,101, right? We ain't going to be doing this again where we have any kind of a pre-sale. So you guys are in this early, and we're respecting that. This is not a quick flip. We're not going to be trying to grab everyone's money and do a rug pull or anything like that. That's why we've kept these prices attractive and reasonable for for our early adopters. But for the general public, should we be driving enough people into this come the Wednesday morning, they will be spending 0.15 ETH, thank you Nathan, and they'll be getting 3 NFTs. So it's 3 for the price of 1. That's a pretty good deal. If you look at the current value of ETH, as I mentioned, that's about $4,000 US today. Their mint cost is, as we mentioned, 0.15 ETH. Now, if you divide that up, it's around about, well, it's exactly 0.05 ETH, or $200 per NFT. Once again, this is not a cheap NFT, it's going to be quickly flipped. This is something that we believe will, hold value for, well, hopefully generations to come. Not something that's going to, blossom with value quickly and then fall away like we see just so many NFTs do time after time. We are here aiming at becoming, the next Bored Ape, right? Will we get there? Will we reach that sort of status? I can't promise that. But our value proposition overall in our project here, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is that we're a group of elite NFT collectors and emerging artists that are on a mission to find the next Beeple. So not only are you getting some pretty cool looking NFT art for a very reasonable price, but our utility, our value proposition overall, like who would want to be part of that group to be able to, suddenly one day wake up in a few months, perhaps a year's time, to find that one of the art drop NFTs sitting in your wallet by, at the time, an unknown artist has now, blossomed like a Beeple. And, Beeple's prices today, they're crazy. I mean, just a little more than a year ago, he was only selling his NFTs for about $100. Mike Winkleman is his name, and I'm sure you're aware that earlier this year he created a single NFT out of 5,000 days of his art, and that sold for a record at the time $69 million US. He had been making digital art for about 20 years, and because only just a little into late last year did he even know what an NFT was. First he thought, no, I don't get this, forget it. Then he started to think, well, maybe it's something that's worthwhile doing. So the rest is history. I think it was about the 21st of February this year that sale went through on an auction of crazy proportions. Now, I'm not standing here saying that this is exactly what we're going to do. Maybe the Beeple is not going to be found through our community. But one of the reasons why a lot of people ask me, look, why are you doing 10,000? Like everyone's knocking the numbers down. I want to make 10,000 opportunities for people, right? And if I'm going to be doing that for everybody who purchases one of the BowerBirds, how much more attractive would that be for an emerging artist to go, hey, wait a minute, the community's only small, 3,000, 5,000, wait a minute, there's 10,000 people in there. I'm going to get to showcase my artwork that I'm so passionate about. I'm new, yes, I'm emerging, but the value proposition has to work both ways. As they say, there's two sides to every coin. So, we've got to get that message out to people, and that's pretty much all I can say about the public sale at this point. So naturally, we've got a challenge there, and as said, we do have this mint sale starting on the 8th, and it's going to move forward until we have a complete sold out status. And then after that, when the Discord is large enough and there's enough demand, that's when we will move forward through to the Dutch auction, which I believe is the fairest way to determine what the value of our NFTs truly are. We've done some internal surveys, which I'm sure you've been aware of. We've come up with these prices. As you can see, they're pretty reasonable. And when we get to that public Dutch auction, everyone will then tell us, what they think it's worth. Exactly where it's going to start from and where it's going to end up, we'll know as time moves on. So let's take a look at the next screen. What's actually going to happen when people get there to mint? So right now, at the time of recording this video, we have 481 of our overall 1,000 Genesis BowerBirds allocated through both the early bird mint pass sale, which was capped at 400, and now the 81 of the 600 that are remaining of the 1,000 Genesis BowerBirds that can be minted. So when the general public get there, they'll see a counter on the screen which will show exactly this, that the mint pass holders down here indicated in the purple, these are all the mint passes that have been sold, and here is what the general public can purchase. So as the minting process continues from that point, once the countdown timer on the page reaches 0 and the general public are able to mint their very valuable Genesis BowerBird, this number will start from this point, wherever we end up. Now, it may be a larger number by the time the mint pass sale ceases, and that will cease 2 hours before, and that's it, that's finished. There will be no more mint passes available for anybody. So if you're thinking about it at this time, is it a good deal to spend 0.08 ETH to avoid having to pay 0.15, plus get a bonus OG. And as you saw on the previous screen, there's lots more involved in being a member of this very private, very exclusive community online. So, but this is exactly how it's going to work. So don't be surprised, and I don't think anyone in the general public will be surprised when they understand that this is the process here. Suddenly it went from 0 countdown timer. They'll be seeing this on the screen, right? So there'll be a timer on there, counting down to 0 in the day or so in advance. As 24 hours before, we'll be making that location to mint available through our Discord. And under the official links, people will see straight away that this number here will be reflecting the number of mint passes currently still live, in that last 24 hours, or as the case may be, 22 hours. Okay, so look, that I hope clears things up there. I'm sure there's questions that are coming in, so let's go back to the screen. And do we have any questions in the lounge text? Let's take a look.
No, nothing at the moment. People are free to speak up if they want to.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's go back. Yep, don't be shy. I don't bite. Now, while we're standing here and just waiting to see if anyone would like to say something. Oh, Big Zips. Hello, Big Zips.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good to hear from you. What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good.
You got a question there for us? Okay. Having some trouble with the mic. Maybe Island 3RR, are you wanting to ask a question there? Or ISL4ND 3RR?
I've got a question just while we wait for other people.
Sure.
Do you want to talk about what happens if we don't sell out all the mint passes? Is that going to reduce the supply of the Genesis? Just talk about that.
Sure, good question. If we don't sell out all the mint passes, that's no issue. It just means that there's more Genesis available to the general public. So let's say, it got to, 550. That would mean then that there are only 450 Genesis BowerBirds available to the general public, because when you buy a mint pass, that's essentially taking a Genesis, out of anybody else's reach. It's yours. You can mint it at any time. But of course, there are incentives to be in the first 200 to mint your Genesis, because those smart people will be going into the draw for having their very own Genesis BowerBird brought to life in similar fashion to what you see right behind me. This one will be won by our other competition, but specifically just referring here to Genesis. I wouldn't be waiting, because if you want to get your own Genesis BowerBird brought to life in this full-size canvas behind me, I'll step back and you can see how big it actually is. This is the opportunity there. So, but as I said, you can choose to mint at any particular point in time. Doesn't need to be on the day, but if we do drive general traffic in there, it'd be sooner rather than later. But answering the question there in summary, what mint passes aren't sold will essentially be burnt. No one will be able to purchase one after the date, which is about 2 hours before the Genesis mint sale starts. So yeah, they will be removed from circulation. There will be no more. So the time to grab a mint pass is any time between now and 2 hours before the start of the Genesis mint on December the 8th. I hope that answers the question there. Do we have any others?
Yes, it does.
Okay, that's great. Now, if we don't have anyone else who wants to speak and we've cleared things up, still feel free to drop
We've got one
hello,
in the lounge text.
Lounge decks, okay.
Islander said, so if you burn the mint passes, you're going to burn the Genesis bowerbirds attached to those?
No. Oh, sorry, yes. No. Let's start that again. Burning the mint pass just means that, the allocation, right, of mint pass through to Genesis, that tie is severed, right? We're not burning the Genesis, no way, right? So the Genesis are always going to be from 1 to 1,000, right? As hashtag 1 to 1,000 out of the 10,101. That's not going anywhere, that's not changing, right? So burning the mint passes that are not sold prior, right, just means that they've disappeared, right? So the original allocation of 1,000 hasn't been exhausted, okay, that's it, no issue. But it certainly doesn't mean the number of Genesis bowerbirds will be reduced, because there's a lot more people that are wanting to get one, and as soon as we have solved our traffic and awareness issues, I don't think that's going to be too difficult to do. Considering the size of our Discord right now and the number of that are pre-sold and the value proposition, very confident that we're going to get there. Hopefully that answers the question. Do we have any others?
Maybe you could talk about what happens when people go to swap their mint pass for their Genesis. What would that process look like?
Swap their mint pass for the Genesis. Okay.
Well,
technically,
sort of to mint their Genesis, will they just get their OG automatically, or do they choose their quantity, or just that sort of stuff?
Sure. Good question. Thanks, Mars. The answer to that is, when you have a mint pass or a token for the mint pass in your wallet that's connected, and you press the mint button, right? Let's say you've got 3 mint passes in there. Well, that will mean that you have 3 allocations to 3 Genesis bowerbirds. The process of utilizing that will actually burn that mint pass. You won't be using it again beyond this point. There were some technical questions about, do we allow people to mint Genesis and then hold the OGs for later? But that raised a real concern where somebody might, be tempted to mint their Genesis and then put their partially used mint pass on OpenSea to somebody unaware of the fact that it had already been partially burnt. So that clearly had to be wiped off the board. No possibility of that ever happening. Meant that we needed to bring everything forward, so that if you're getting your free Genesis mint, it also meant that you're going to get your free OG mint. Hopefully that's clear. So once that's used, it's burnt, it's gone, can't be sold, it's finished. And you have your allocation of your Genesis and your OG, which will be revealed about 24 hours after the sale starts. Okay, anyone else would like to speak up? Any suggestions, ideas for change? We're a welcoming, opening community here. We listen to everyone. We want to make sure we get this right, because we're community focused and we're putting you guys first. I think you can see that with the way we've been looking after our early adopters, our early birds. And okay. Well, look, if there aren't any more questions, or if there are, drop them in the chat.
Typed. Oh, here you go.
One's being typed.
Okay. So you already have a process or system in place that will identify the mint pass was used to mint the Genesis/OG bowerbirds.
Correct. Because once that's done, right, the mint pass is burnt. So can't be used again. It basically, from my understanding, right, I am an artist, not a techno guy, but I think once it's burnt, it's removed from your wallet. It disappears. It's gone. It's used. Can't be sold again. But yeah, technical details like that, we'll get that answered elsewhere. But there's no way it can be used again. The most important aspect of that question.
Other question is, I enjoyed seeing the YouTube video you were featured in. Is there any more plans of interviews or other outside media coverage?
Yes, absolutely. Coming up tomorrow, we'll be featured. We'll be getting a shout out on Nifty World. They're a UK channel on YouTube, and they've got a small but very, very tailored and tight audience in the NFT educational space. I will be getting a shout out there, and that will be coming up tomorrow, Monday, 6:30 p.m. UK time. And at the same time after that is published, I'll be heading on over to host a Twitter Spaces where I'll be presenting the BowerBirds to their audience, and interacting with people, taking questions, maybe getting suggestions of other artists that they may be known, who are interested in the NFT space, because essentially that's what we're on about here. We're out to find the next Beeple, and the only way we're going to do that is by connecting to artistic communities and inviting in those from perhaps the traditional art world, perhaps that have been around for decades like myself, and are suddenly going, hey, this is a good idea, how do I get involved? We're out there, that's where we're going to spend a lot of the money that we're raising here, is formulating connections and teams, and this thing has got to spread globally so that we can cast a very wide net. So it's going to be a process that's going to take some time. Obviously, we're going to start small and build from there. But yeah, look, we've got that one planned. We're actually reaching out to other major influencers in this NFT space, hoping to get an audience with Brett Malinowski, hard name to remember and pronounce, sorry Brett. In fact, if you're listening and watching, happy birthday, because not only is it Killer Pie's birthday today, apparently it's yours. And yeah, hopefully we can catch up soon and chat about things NFT, and especially about our project and where we're heading, because we really love your project, the Magic Mushroom Clubhouse. Those for you, if you don't know about them, they're about psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and the research into how to help people with depression and PTSD. And if you're familiar, that is an amazing field of medical endeavor, but a lot of it is through trials that have been going on in the US for about 20 years now. In our country, it's down to, we're a fair bit behind there. So yeah, big shout out to Brett from Living the Brett Way. Another great day. So yeah, look, we are knocking down doors left, right and center. It's very hard to get to some people. I think I sat on the phone there yesterday and the day before for 5-6 hours waiting for an interview with the BitBoy marketing team, who have loved our concept and said, hey, tell us more. A fully doxed team, a family team at that, and a traditional artist coming into the NFT space. We want to talk to you guys. So I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they get back to us. And if we get some exposure there, then I think there's going to be a lot of people in this Discord. Are there any
Another
questions? Next question.
Yeah. Have you looked into marketing on Instagram pages like @NFT, @NFT Kings, @NFT Money, NFT Magazine? These are some of the main NFT sources for a good range of active, interested people.
Sure. Look, we're open to any area that is going to help us get exposure. We'll keep note of that in the lounge text here, and of course, Killer Pie will be making special note of anything and everything that's going to get us out to the right audience. Naturally, we're not sort of trying to go out and just find any old influencer that's just going to go blam, have some people in your Discord. They'll fly in, they'll fly out. What's the use of that? We're looking for people who are NFT enthusiasts that are looking for, let's face it, the next people. So that's a narrower band than just blasting it out to every audience out there. So yeah, we value your contributions. If you can think of anything, pop it in the lounge text. We'll definitely follow up on that, as we're doing many of those at the moment. We're just about to be featured on Rarity.tools. Just waiting on them to get back to me. I've signed up for that this morning. It's quite an expensive 2 ETH process to get on that list, but I believe money well spent to bring in people that are going to be digging our project here. Okay, any more questions? Mars.
And you mentioned Rarity at all. People are about to see their birds on the 8th, or actually the next day, I suppose. How are they going to know, the attributes that are the most valuable? Can you speak at all more about that, or is that going to be released later?
Well, when the NFTs are revealed, that actually is done by releasing the metadata, and the metadata contains, the rarity that people will be able to check once it's on OpenSea. So that will be revealed, 24 hours. At the same time, the image, the metadata, and the rarities, will be shown as to, how many have been minted so far.
And Tom's asked that, so if the mint pass doesn't sell out before Genesis launch, I understand that the pass will be burnt and the Genesis will be available to purchase for 0.15. What gives you confidence the remaining Genesis birds will be bought for double the cost?
Okay. Yep. Look, I think we covered that before when we're looking at the value proposition. Perhaps Tom wasn't here. We can quickly flip back to that. Probably the best place to do this is on this screen here. So just, you can pause the video if you're looking at this later and just consider what's being on offer here. Essentially, to purchase a Genesis, you're going to be getting 3 NFTs. 1 immediately, and 2 further down the track. So sure, maybe there's a little risk there. As I said, this is a value proposition over a long-term period. This is not a quick flip. So the Genesis bird comes to you at, yes, 0.15 ETH. The value proposition is right there. It means that for those 3, you're going to be spending about $200 per NFT. So just taking a look at the art, a lot of people, have spoken up in the Discord saying, hey, I love the art regardless of where this goes. I mean, I've done that myself. I've purchased some NFTs that I just think, wow, that's so cool. I don't really, care so much where this one goes, whether it goes up or down. I'm happy because I've, got a really cool piece of art. So put in the attractive value from, that this is not just, any old NFT. It's something super special. As you can see, we're going to move to our previews in just a moment. But for the general public, we've got to get that message out there. So at 0.05 ETH, I think for these 3 NFTs should have things covered in the value proposition stakes. So let's head back to here. Hopefully that answers the question and gives you some confidence there. I mean, also, hey, let's be completely honest here. The value proposition really does come down to exposure to the right, number of people in the marketplace. Just look at JRNY, right? Journey. Just a matter of, last week on Monday, he had a complete sellout within about 6.5 hours, and people had no idea what NFTs they were buying. They knew they were going to get 3, and they could use their mint pass on any 3 coming up. There was some talk and speculation, but there was nothing spelled out as to what they were going to be purchasing. And it was a Dutch auction process, and people were spending I think on average there, don't quote me on it, but probably 10 times what we're asking for a Genesis BowerBird, right? Which you can see, which they can see. They can see the value in the art, and once they dive deeper into the project, that's going to be obvious. So hopefully that gives you a bit more confidence that this is going to be easy for people to understand. Once we get the Discord size, a lot larger down the track. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, Tom said as a follow-up, will we have to wait till all 1,000 have been minted before they are revealed? Or will there be a time limit when the Genesis public sale will stop?
No, the Genesis public sale is not going to stop until it's sold out. Okay, let's make that clear. Those birds will be sold. Okay, the price remains where it stands. As I said, it's just a matter of getting the right number of people in front of that proposition. For let's face it, it's not going to be 2 ETH, or it's not even going to be 1 ETH. It's 0.15. So I don't think that's a huge ask, given that, naturally we've got a marketing challenge on our hands, and more importantly, from now to the start of the Genesis Mint, we've got a time issue on our hands. So we're fully aware of that. We're not expecting at this stage, for it to be A, selling out all the mint passes, B, selling out all the Genesis BowerBirds. I mean, who knows? We might get a miracle flood of traffic from some of the things that we're doing, with upcoming videos and our promotions. Could be a completely different picture in 3 days' time. But yeah, just back to the original question. Kind of lost track.
Oh yeah, the original one was, will we have to wait till all 1,000 have been minted before they are revealed?
No. As I mentioned earlier, I think Tom's popped in late. That's okay. It'll be 24 hours after the mint starts and after you've minted your Genesis and your OG. You'll be seeing those appear inside of the collection on OpenSea. Okay, now, if there's not any more questions, I think we're 40 minutes into this. It's probably time to get to the big reveal of the sneak previews of what the Genesis are going to be looking like. So let's flip on over to Photoshop. Okay, now let's go in a little closer so everybody can see. We're going to just run through an animation here. Now this is one that I've chosen because it seemed like a nice place to start. Let's just press the play button. As you can see, the general theme behind Genesis is beginning. What does it say in the Bible? God said in the beginning, let there be light. It's recorded in the book of Genesis. So the key feature here is that this is an illuminating moment in time. So having a Genesis BowerBird, right, is a time of illumination. You can see that the BowerBird is holding things in his hands, that some are highly illuminated, others are making reference into perhaps more traditional forms of art. You can see on his wrist, interestingly, there's a watch. Most people have their watch on their left hand.
Sorry, we can't see.
There's no sneak peek that we can see.
Okay, what's happening there? Thank you for pulling me up. Unless you got the verbal. Let's go back. So I'm going to share my screen. This time I'm going to choose. Okay. Right. Now, are you seeing the screen?
We can see it now.
Okay. That was all this little tactic there just to keep you guessing, keep you wanting to see what's going on. Okay, now really technical stuff up on my part, but as you can see here, we're looking at an animated GIF of what is our preview of the Genesis BowerBirds. As I was mentioning, this is an illuminating moment. So all of our Genesis BowerBirds will have this defining and distinctive feature of this explosive light background. So I'm just going to pause this here for a moment. And let's stop on that one right there. So this is what we're looking at. These are looking very distinctively different to the OG BowerBirds. And one of the things that I set down as an absolute golden rule of thumb at the very beginning of this artwork design process was that, well, this is a profile picture series. 10,101 images. Now, if people want to be using these as a profile picture, then essentially it's got to do a really good job at doing that and standing out in a very small little circular fashion. Now, what's even more important is that if you have a Genesis BowerBird, that needs to be a standout, considering it's double the cost, maybe it's perhaps 10 times the value somewhere in the future. It is in regards to tokens, but how is the distinction going to occur? So part of the preview here today, the sneak peek, I'm going to show you in these next preview slides here. when that moves across, exactly what it looks like in a circular fashion. So this is your NFT. If you were to be taking a look at what this looks like, perhaps on Twitter, this is about the size that you see on the screen. Now, what's it going to look like down smaller? So, Twitter profile picture stands out pretty clearly as something that, you know, not anyone else has got. This looks like something, well, completely different. Now that's just an OG. Let's go back and see this from the perspective of a Genesis. As you can see here, right, the Genesis background is very distinct. We're still seeing, you know, that this is a BowerBird, but like, whoa, there's something explosive going on behind there. So I'm just going to advance through a few of these and you'll see what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, you know, we want to be using these as our profile pics, and if we've, you know, spent the extra money on a Genesis, and as I said, hopefully it's much more valuable in the future than, you know, what the mid price is today or coming up on the 8th. It's really important that this works and is very definably different from an OG. And, you know, on the OG side of things, once again, you know, I had to make sure that this worked down really small, so it stands out as a perfect profile picture that is distinctive. It's attractive as an NFT piece of artwork, but it's got to work down at this size. So that's what I've been working on, and if anyone's got any questions on this, feel free to ask. I am actually going to be producing another video later today, which I'm titling Inside the Mind of the BowerBird, and I'll be publishing that on YouTube a little later on today or this evening, wherever you may be. And I'll be explaining exactly what all these elements are inside of the art. What do they mean? Why are they there? Why is there a wristwatch? Why is that so important? You know, what artists have been referred to, what art periods have been referred to, how does this fit into my experience as a commercial artist and a fine artist, and even as a, you know, a techno artist in both 3D and the NFT space. So all will be revealed in that video coming up a little later today. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the art right now? Open for anyone to step up to the mic. Well guys, it's been 47 minutes since we've started this. Hopefully we've cleared up a lot of your questions. And the road forward for the Mint Pass holders into the Genesis Mint, where you're going to mint for free. You're going to get your OG and your Genesis at the one time. And depending on how many Mint Passes you have, those allocations will all go through with one gas fee. So from the outset, we were very, very aware of avoiding a gas wall. This is why we came up with the concept of the Mint Pass. We wanted to make sure that, you know, people would be able to mint at their leisure without having to rush in and cram. Now, granted, when we get to the public Dutch auction, that process will be handled slightly differently. So the way a Dutch auction works is you've got people at different tiered levels of affordability, and you know, JRNY proved it there last week with, you know, 67,000 people in his Discord and a lot of people all trying to get his Mint Passes. The result was, and you can check it inside the Discord, it's a fact, they didn't have any gas wars, so people didn't have to pay huge gas fees just to get their hands on an NFT. So that's the reason why we went with the Mint Passes, to look after you guys and make sure that, you know, gas was handled in the best way possible. And by the fact that, you know, you're using one transaction to burn that Mint Pass and mint Genesis and OGs and whatever allocations of those that you're going to be getting, it's in one transaction without a gas wall for the, you know, lowest gas fee you can find within the time frame. Okay, let's get that out of the way. A lot of people have been wondering, like, okay, so what kind of awards have you won, Greg? It says you're a multi-award winner. This one, as you can see down here, moving my hand to the back, that is a painting of my wife and one of my children. And it's from 1992. That particular painting, I received a highly commended award in the category of portrait painting. So yeah, I've Yeah, been involved in a lot of different artistic, pursuits and endeavours. Everything from landscape painting, portrait painting, abstract work, and what you see here in the BowerBird is a coming together of 40 years of my artistic pursuits. So this is something that's really representing my life's work. Therefore, I'm treasuring this and valuing the whole process and my presentation to everybody, and hopefully that will be appreciated through not only the values that everyone is seeing today, but moving forward with this project, which is a long-term project, not a quick flip. That doesn't mean you can't start trading this if it's going to make good sense for you. There's no issue with that. But I think if I was to have sold my 4,000 bitcoins that I could have picked up for just $1,000 back in 2008, all I had to do was turn up at my we had one ATM machine inside of our city in Sydney. I could have gone with a credit card, plugged it in, and somehow gotten 4,000 bitcoins. And I didn't do that. I was trying to find someone to do a website for. Said, hey, I'll do your website, just around about $1,000. Just pay me in Bitcoin. But of course, nobody had Bitcoin, or very few people did. And so we're all about ROMO, RMO, ROMO, not FOMO, not fear of missing out. Ooh, driving people in. It's about regret of missing out. Now, I regret that I didn't go to that ATM and go, bang, here's $1,000. Now I've got, 4,000 of these Bitcoins. I don't know what I can do with it, and walked away. But see, how much regret do I have today? It'd be something like, I don't know, $250 million. It would be just ridiculous money. So, long term, all about removing the regret of missing out. There's no FOMO here. We're not trying to, force people to rush in and grab something that's, going to be a quick pump and dump, a rug pull, all these things that we see happening. I mean, that's why our team and us, we're out in the open. We're fully doxed. You can see who we are. We're real people. We've got real skills and real professional careers. Well, unless there's any more questions, anyone like to speak up? Feel free. Okay, I think that probably...
There is one more.
Oh, wait a minute, one more.
How does the reveal of the first 600 Genesis birds during the EB affect the rarity of the remaining ones?
It doesn't affect the rarity at all, because the rarity is based on the metadata contained within the NFT itself. So, and that's determined by the actual traits. So if you have a trait that's under 1%, then that's super rare. For example, the gold melting Rolex watch, that's actually going to be under 0.01%, because there'll be two of them in the there will be one inside of the Genesis BowerBirds, right? A gold Rolex will be on just one inside the Genesis BowerBirds, and one inside the OG collection as well. So those sorts of traits will be seen when you look at your properties inside of OpenSea once the reveal occurs. Hopefully that answers the question there. And during the process, we'll be making sure that these will not be able to be sniped by anyone. So while you're waiting 24 hours, if you do it in a very poor fashion, the people that know how to snipe using the IPFS, the Interplanetary File System, it's just a walk in the park for them to look at the metadata, look at the image, and go, oh, I'm going to go and offer that person, a couple over the floor price, when it could be, worth 10 times over the floor price. So that's a sniping hack that we've closed that up. Okay, looking after you guys. Oh, and just to point out too, in regards to how many will we be holding back, we'll be holding back in total 101. So that's where the 101 comes from. We're keeping these for promotions, incentives, for giveaways, And so the total that everyone will be able to mint/purchase in the beginning is that 10,000. But so we'll be keeping back a portion of the Genesis BowerBirds, and essentially once it hits that limit of what we're holding back, they will be officially sold out. Which means that we'll have some Genesis BowerBirds for promotions moving into the future, that people that have not heard about us yet and have yet to discover what we're doing, and that they want a piece of the BowerBird action. We've got incentives for those that have come in late, because as I said, and we're all pretty aware here, that those who are aware of the BowerBird collective, what we're on about, it's a small number right now. We're not being deluded into thinking that, wow, there's 2,500 people in the Discord. Ooh, this is amazing. No, this needs to have its wings spread much, much wider, because it's a big wide world out there, and there's really only a really small percentage of people that have heard about and are supporting us. Okay, any final questions? Okay, well, everybody, thanks very much for being here with us today. Hopefully it's cleared up what's going on in the days ahead, the weeks ahead, the months ahead, and the years ahead. Yeah, stay tuned. This video will be up later on, as well as another Inside the Mind of the BowerBird video for everyone to be catching up to speed, whether you've seen this live or not. Thank you for the valuable questions. Thank you for all your time. It's been almost an hour now, so I think it's time to call it quits for now, and we'll see you back in the Discord very soon. Thanks so much for watching, and